Welcome to Surrender School. Uh, okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Joy, and I'm one of the board members at Surrender School, and we are a nonprofit recovery community that offers a safe and loving space for people who want a healthier relationship with food and a deeper connection to their higher power. We are so glad that you are here. I see some new faces, um, and welcome. Your presence matters here, and at Surrender School, you are accepted no matter who you are, where you are on your recovery journey. We learn from one another and know everyone has unique gifts and experience that add insight to our community. At Surrender School, we know recovery is possible for anyone willing to do the hard work of examining themselves. Our mission is simple but powerful. At Surrender School, we recover. Our mission is to share 12-step and other supportive recovery solutions with those who want a healthy relationship with food. We offer free book studies, workshops, step work groups, and Enneagram-based recovery classes, most of which are available from our website, surrenderschool.org. I know we have some new people today, so I'm going to briefly share our website, if it's going to allow me to do that. Are you seeing my website? Yeah. Can someone tell me?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, thank you. This is the website. It is surrenderschool.org. We have 2 different Zoom rooms, and today you see Sam's workshop here, and she's going to tell you a little more about intuitive eating. We have a new reading room that just started. We have new reading rooms popping up all the time. This one is focused on emotional sobriety. This is another reading room where videos are played from one of our previous workshops, and then people are invited to share. Every Sunday, we have Work the 12 Steps by Enneagram type, and I will tell you, that is one of the things that help us examine ourselves deeply and recover. We have Michael Naylor, that he's the author of The Alchemy of the Enneagram and Transforming Addiction. He does workshops for us. We have office hours. For those of you who are, you can start even in the middle, and those of you who've been coming all along to our Supercharge Your Recovery and learn more about the Enneagram, and just have some time to talk to the presenter and one another. And these are just some other reading rooms we have. So before we begin, I'd like everyone to join us in the set aside prayer. And I don't know if that's posted in the chat, but I will just say the words and pray them. God, help me to set aside everything I think I know to make space for what I have yet to learn. I will stop sharing. Everything we offer at Surrender School is free because we believe everyone deserves access to healing. That said, if you feel moved to support our mission, donations are always welcome and deeply appreciated. You can give through the link on our homepage at surrenderschool.org. You'll see a donate opportunity on the bottom of our homepage and on the menu. Today's meeting, sometimes like during office hours, we invite crosstalk. But today we ask that there be no crosstalk when you're given the opportunity to share. And crosstalk refers to interrupting, commenting on, or responding directly to another person's share during a meeting. I am beyond, and that's why I agreed to do it. I don't usually do this, but I'm beyond honored to introduce someone who embodies the spirit of this work in every way. My best friend and today's speaker. Sam is a board certified classical homeopath and a certified intuitive eating counselor, and one of the most compassionate, grounded, and wise women I know. Since 2009, she's been supporting clients in finding peace physically, emotionally, and spiritually through natural remedies, deep listening, and gentle guidance. She has a master's degree in education, has published in Homeopathy Today, and has taught all over San Diego in wellness centers, conferences, and community spaces. But beyond all that, what makes Sam so special is how real she is. She brings warmth, humor, and deep care into every space she enters. And she believes with her whole heart that healing is possible without restriction, shame, or control. So, whether you're brand new to the idea of intuitive eating or curious about reconnecting with your body in a more loving way, I know you're going to get a whole lot out of today's session. Please join me in welcoming Sam.
Wow, thank you. Hi, everybody. Joy, thank you so much. Like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. That was very sweet. Yeah, I'm so grateful to be here, and grateful to Surrender School for having this space, for people to get to learn about intuitive eating. Got it. So yeah, thank you for having me. It's one of those things of, I love doing this work, and I feel like it's like part of me, and so I get a little nervous sharing, in a way that feels really vulnerable. But I got a very sweet text this morning from somebody at Surrender School who just said, it's going to be great, and if you're nervous, that's normal. So I really appreciate the support. Just to share a little bit about my story for context, I started in food recovery and Overeaters Anonymous back in 1990. I was 19 and just feeling very out of control with my eating. And I'd been familiar with 12-step work. My parents had dabbled in different 12 steps, just really briefly, but that just seemed like a natural thing for me to do. And a therapist had said, oh, try it. And so it really, really saved my life. It gave me a grounding foundation of spirituality. That's where I met Joy like a million years ago. And she was on my journey of like, can I call you at 5 a.m. and commit to being abstinent for this day, the first day? And that was how it all started. Um, and since then, my recovery has taken lots of evolutions and iterations, and I've landed here in the land of intuitive eating. And it happened, I'd been going and feeling like my food was like okay and things were fine. And then during the pandemic, my teenage daughter was diagnosed with anorexia, and she went to an outpatient treatment center. And one of the tools that they gave her was intuitive eating. And it really opened my eyes to the idea of, wow, I don't think I'm intuitively eating. I think I am having good foods and bad foods. I think I'm still afraid of food. I think I'm using a lot of external things to tell me I'm okay, like the size of my pants or the number on the scale, or I don't know if anybody can relate, but just sitting and thinking of, okay, I had this for breakfast, I had this for lunch, just that like cataloging of my whole food day and making it good or bad. And so it was a gift. It was a very difficult time in our family, in our family, but at the same time, she is doing well now. And through that, My a therapist said, "Why don't you get certified? Like you already do this holistic stuff. So it'd be a nice thing to add to help people." So yeah, as all journeys, a lot of it starts with pain. So that was kind of my pain point. And I've got to say, it's given me a lot of freedom. And I'll get into this as we go through, but I just want to thank everyone for coming and having an open mind. And it's, kind of like take what you like and leave the rest. I know for me, some of these principles, I mean, now I feel like I embrace all of them, but like in the beginning, they felt really scary. It was like this combination of like, ooh, I could eat whatever I want. That's exciting. And also, oh my God, that is so scary. So, I would say, being curious about these principles and knowing that you need to do what's right for you and wherever you are in your recovery. All righty. So today we're going to talk about what is intuitive eating, things I love about it. Is it for everyone? Yes, no, maybe later. I'll go over briefly the principles, and then I want to hear from you. I created a poll to kind of find out which ones you want to learn about sooner and which ones you want to learn about later. It's not a hard poll. You'll all pass. It'll be fine. And then we'll hear from a couple of people who have gone through the workbook study, who are also in 12-step programs. So hear a little bit about how they integrate it. We'll do a short handwriting activity. There'll be time for sharing. I'll talk about the different stages, what to expect, and then some resources. And okay, yeah. So this has been around a while. I feel like it's made a little bit of a resurgence, maybe more recently, or maybe just because I've been into it. But it was introduced back in 1995 by Evelyn Tribole and Elise Reich. There's over 220 published studies showing its benefits. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, it's all over, but I don't know if these are accurate numbers. They probably have grown since I posted this. And it's essentially a way of eating that helps you get back to yourself and what works best for your body. Another way of thinking of it is it's a personal process of honoring your health by paying attention to the messages of your body and meeting your physical and emotional needs. And really, the main purpose is to cultivate a healthy relationship with food, mind, and body. It's a weight neutral model, meaning that the focus is not on body size, but rather on healing your relationship with food. So the things I love about it, um, and it was fun to kind of revisit this and remember, oh yeah, I do love this about it. And I'll reference a principle and we'll talk about it, but it's okay if you don't know what the principles mean. I really enjoy my food, and that is in line with the discovering the satisfaction factor principle. And what I mean by that is before, food felt like either really scary, kind of the enemy, kind of something I just didn't want to deal with, or I was head first in the food. It was just like one thing or the other. And now with intuitive eating, I I pretty much enjoy what I eat most days. And then if I don't, it's okay too because there's another day coming, right? Another meal coming. But I would say I do enjoy my food, whereas in the past I didn't always. I don't feel guilty or bad for being hungry, and that goes along with the honoring your hunger principle. For me, when I was growing up, I don't know, I don't think things were like directly said, like it's not ladylike to be hungry, but that's what I observed. I observed this, don't be hungry, don't be too hungry, don't eat more than the boys, or I mean, and I know this is like old stereotype stuff, but that's kind of what I internalized. So to honor my hunger, A, to know I'm hungry, and B, to honor it is a really big gift because I used to just feel really guilty about being hungry. So that is one thing I enjoy. I'm not constantly looking at my body every chance I get and judging it. That goes along with respect your body. I was laughing because I'm like, well, I still kind of do that, just not constantly. So there's always work, to be done. But yeah, it's not that constant. Like I have mirrors in my office, and the way I have them set up, I used to have them where I could just see my whole self, while I was on Zoom or whatever. And now I've switched that because I'm like, I don't need to be looking and judging and feeling, negative. So Anyways, you'll hear more about that. Bye-bye scale and mental torture. And I know this one is a scary one, and I'm not asking anybody to get up their scale. So take a breath if that feels scary to you. But for me, the scale was like my validation thing, right? Like if it was the right number, then I was like a good person and I am good and I did okay and okay, this is going to be a good day. And if it was not the right number, it was like forget it. I really used that scale to validate my existence and my worth. So for me, I had to let that go, because it wasn't just, I've heard people say it's just a tool, it's just data, it's just, a reality check. And if that's how it is for you, that's great. For me, it was like this self-esteem killer every time. So I've gotten rid of that. I tune into what my body really wants or needs in the moment, and sometimes it's a nap and not food. So that idea, this goes along with feeling your fullness. So sometimes, especially if I'm low energy, I'll be like, oh, do I need to eat something? But sometimes it isn't that. It's I need to rest, or I need to take a walk or call a friend or do something different. But it's that ability to tune in that helps me figure out what that is. I don't dread exercise or put myself on a strict plan that I can't sustain. Um, I definitely had a love-hate relationship with exercise. I knew it was good for me, but it was always hard to stay on something that was sustainable. I would I would research things or hear about, boot camps or these other things. And there's nothing wrong with those things. It was just the way I was thinking about them as, okay, this is going to fix me. And now I really like going to the gym. My secret is there's a massage chair at my gym. So when I say I go to the gym, I do go to the gym, but a lot of times, sometimes it's like a 10-minute workout and then I do the massage chair. But it gets me there, and I don't feel like, well, you'll see in the principle, they list so many different ways to move your body, and like from vacuuming to playing with your dog to, and I'm like, hey, look at all this movement I'm doing. So it's given me just a broader perspective about exercise. Choosing where to eat out is not a big deal anymore. That goes with the challenging the food police principle. And I know for some people, there are medical reasons and food allergies and sensitivities. And so things are a challenge. But for me, it was a lot of self-imposed restriction. And I think when I met my husband, there was only one restaurant that I would feel safe eating at, Boston Market, if anyone remembers that restaurant. And that was my go-to. I had my certain meal and I could eat there and I felt safe and I felt okay. And now I've expanded. I pretty much can go anywhere, and it's not a big deal. I don't obsess about food. That goes with making peace with food. I found for me, a lot of times if I'm in food obsession, it's because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten and it's waited too long to eat. So that'll sometimes happen. Or if I've made a food a really off limit, this is bad, then sometimes I will get an obsession about food. So more will be revealed on that one for other people. I feel a peace and freedom around eating, which I think is the biggest gift because I did not feel that before. And um, and it just feels, I do feel very grateful that I don't have to have that kind of stuff in my head, the static in my head, just analyzing and doing all the stuff and feeling so bad, feeling like, God, I just can't figure this out. Um, okay. And my body is at a natural size. I'm no longer suppressing my weight with strict rules around my eating. And I will say this one is a huge freedom. And I think that's what seeing my daughter's treatment made me realize that I was really suppressing. I had, my certain things that I could and could not do. And now my body is at, I feel like the size that if I look around at my family, this is the size our bodies are, we are. And then as I'm getting older too, it's like accepting some of these things that I'm not, whatever age anymore. And so there is definitely a freedom in that. Um, and so is it for everyone? Um, I say maybe later or yes. So for people who are under body weight or bulimic or excessive exercisers or have had some sort of residential inpatient treatment, probably maybe not now, maybe something in the future. And then if there are people who are longtime dieters ready for relief, believe in only clean eating, are calorie counters, have mild body rumination, or have a love-hate relationship with their scale. This could be a really nice support and or an awareness. I really want to say, my mind likes black and white thinking, like this is good, this isn't good. And intuitive eating is a lot of gray. And so, as you're hearing the principles, some of them you might be like, no, never, no way. Like, I'm never doing that one. And that's totally fine. Um, but I don't know, it's just like getting exposed to some different ideas. I had a better thing of saying that when I was in the shower practicing, but it's not coming to me. But maybe later it will come to me. But just that idea of being curious and um, I'm not trying to say what anybody's doing is bad or wrong. That's the thing. I'm whatever you're doing, and you could do that and this or some version of that. I think for me, it felt really like I was, I don't know, breaking some rules and thinking outside of like an OA food plan. It felt like, oh no, this isn't going to be okay. So if that's how you may feel, um, that's okay. And you don't have to do any of this. You can just listen and think, well, I'm never doing that. Or maybe there are parts of it you like. Okay, so let's talk about some of the key ideas from the principles. And as you're hearing these, this is the poll that I'm going to ask is like, which of these principles would you want to learn about right now or, next week? And which of them you're like, later would be fine. So I'm going to run through these. And these are when the authors created the book, they really have no order. So they're in chronological order just for organization, but in terms of the sequence, it doesn't matter, except for probably the last one. They wanted to put that honoring your the gentle nutrition at the end so that people had more of a foundation of intuitive eating before they jumped to that one. So the first one is rejecting diet culture. And if you allow even one small hope to linger that a new and better diet or food plan may be lurking around the corner, it may prevent you from being free to rediscover intuitive eating. So I think, most of us have probably are aware of or experience or even in the, where it's just kind of seeped into us, this diet culture of ways to eat and the newest fad and things like that. And so the idea is to really look internal versus external on what to do with your food. Number two is honoring your hunger. So every time you experience biological hunger, and we'll dive into that in that principle, and you respond by honoring your hunger with nourishment, you build trust and connection with your body. So there's different types of hunger, and we'll talk about that as we get into that principle. But biological hunger is I am truly hungry. It's been so many hours since my last meal. It is time to eat. And by responding to that, my body goes, oh, okay, she's listening. Oh, okay. She's not like having a drink or chewing gum or trying to avoid nourishment. She's giving us nourishment. I think we can trust her. And that, again, like I said, was a really big principle for me to embrace because I was always trying to stretch it out and do all the stuff with the gum and the Diet Coke and the, and it just was really nice to get to say, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat something. And yeah, so that's a great one. I love them all, and I'll say they're all my favorite. So, making peace with food. The key to abolishing the pattern of restraint and subsequent rebound overeating is to give yourself permission to eat. Now, this one can feel like exciting and also terrifying at the same time, especially if, like myself, I was somebody that would binge eat. So to be given permission to eat any food whenever, not whenever, it's when I'm hungry, but it was scary. It was like I said, it was exciting and scary at the same time. But the idea is, and we'll talk about this in the principle, is this habituation where your body kind of goes, oh, okay, I can have that. I can have, I don't really want to mention foods, but I could have food A or food B, and they're both, equally fine. And yeah, so making peace with food is a really powerful. It's very powerful. Challenging the food police. So that little voice in your head that says, well, if you eat after 2 p.m., this is going to happen. Or the latest craze of whatever. All of these beliefs and rules and kind of policing of our thoughts around food. So chasing the food police away is a critical step in returning to intuitive eating. Because again, the food police is that and it's something outside of us saying, this is bad, this is wrong. And obviously, if you have your own experience with those things, then they don't work for your body, then of course you do not need to eat them. Making peace with food does not mean eating foods that don't work for your body. I mean, that's the whole point of intuitive eating is being intuitive of knowing what works for your body and when and honoring that. Um, Feeling your fullness, listening for body signals that tell you you're no longer hungry. So even pausing in the middle of a meal and asking, am I still tasting the food? Am I still really hungry? Or is it just, this is my portion and I finish it no matter what? Um, and along with the hunger, honoring your hunger doesn't mean I have a raging headache, my stomach is like making all these noises and I feel like I'm going to pass out. That's kind of beyond that biological hunger. That's like too far gone. Typically you want to be honoring those like subtle hunger signals, and same thing with the fullness. You don't have to feel over full to realize you're full. And again, this takes practice, and we'll talk about that in our exercise we're going to do. Discovering the satisfaction factor when you eat what you really want in an environment that is inviting. The pleasure you will derive will be a powerful force in helping you feel satisfied and content. And, sometimes it is having my breakfast in the car because I don't have enough time to get everything done, and that's not always a satisfying meal, right? And other times most times I can sit at my kitchen table or the dining table and enjoy the meal. And I get more like it's the food that's satisfying me, but it's also the environment and feeling like nourished versus, the eating in the car thing. Honoring your feelings with kindness. So this is, I would say, a big thing that I learned in 12 step is about how to cope with my feelings without using food. So finding ways to comfort without using food, that food won't fix any feelings. I feel like I really got a solid learning of that through doing the 12 steps. And so this just goes into some other ways you can do that. I mean, a lot of it is figuring out how am I feeling? What's going on? I'm doing I think I may have mentioned the Eating in the Light of the Moon book study on Mondays with Melissa. And we just finished the journal chapter, and she talks about just the power of journaling, how you're feeling, and how that can change. For me, my feelings change like hour to hour. Like 2 hours ago, I was really freaking out. And now that I'm here doing this, I feel a little bit okay. But just having that awareness of, wow, I really see this pattern on Mondays. I feel really stressed because I've got that deadline or whatever it is, just having that awareness and to see patterns. Respect your body, accepting your genetic blueprint. It's hard to reject the diet culture if you're unrealistic and overly critical about your body shape. That's probably, I know I've said they're all my favorite, but that might be my very, very favorite. Movement, feel the difference. Forget the militant exercise, just get active and feel the difference. If you focus on how you feel from working out, such as energized, it can make a big difference. And sometimes I don't know if you guys think like this, but sometimes I'll be like, that doesn't count. I go on a 20-minute walk, a slow walk up with my dogs or something. I'm like, that doesn't count. And this principle would say everything counts, every movement counts. It's you not sitting. One of the exercises that we do in that chapter is you record how much you sit. And I was like, I don't sit that much, but I sit a lot. I mean, driving at my computer, like it was interesting to realize how much I don't move. And yeah, I never thought of it like that. And then the last one, honor your health with gentle nutrition. So making food choices that honor your health and taste buds while making you feel good. Remember, you don't have to eat perfectly to be healthy. You will not suddenly get a nutrient deficiency or become unhealthy from one snack, one meal, or one day of eating. It's what you eat consistently over time that matters. Progress, not perfection, is what counts. And that's a familiar statement, right? The progress, not perfection. So this is a very simple exercise. Once you're ready, you're going to write your name on your piece of paper with your dominant hand. And this is in the workbook. I'm taking this exercise from that, so I did not make this up on my own. So again, write your name with your dominant hand, and then switch hands and write your name again with your other non-dominant hand. And then we're going to have some questions to answer, and I'm going to okay. I'm going to read these and then so the first question is to look at your two signatures. Is there a quality difference between the signatures written with your dominant versus your non-dominant hand, and how so? What were your thoughts as you were writing? Maybe you were having judgment of it looks like a first grader writing, or I can't do this, or what is this lady talking about? This is silly, or whatever the judgment is. What were your thoughts as you were writing? And then what were your emotional feelings? Maybe you were feeling impatient with yourself, or again, what's the point of this, or fearful, or you can fill in the blank. And did you have the belief or expectation that your writing should appear the same quality, even if your non-dominant hand has less experience? So what kind of expectations did you have of that non-dominant hand? And now we're tying it into your eating experience. Do you have much experience in paying attention to and honoring your body? And what might that mean for you in terms of cultivating patience and compassion with the process of intuitive eating? All right, I don't know if everybody's done, but I would love to hear from people who might want to share on any of the answers, on any of the questions or anything that might be coming up for you. Um, all right, so we talked, I talked maybe a little bit about this, but some people, I'll just say what you can expect. There may be other questions as well, but will my weight change? Will I eat out of control or will I get this? And really, the idea is not so much about what the scale says, but more in normalizing your relationship with food, eating, and your body. So weight loss may or may not be a side effect. And if weight loss is your goal, this may not be the time for you to do this because this is really kind of an inside job versus the outside focus of food and weight and size. But what I can say is that it does, at least my experience has been, there's just a peace and a freedom that I hadn't had before. Um, and they have done studies that if you are just focusing on weight loss alone, it actually is linked to diminished health. Whereas if you're focused more on healthy lifestyles, um, that the health benefits come with or without weight loss. So I'm not going to promise anybody's going to lose weight or any changes, but just to say that, will I eat out of control? That's definitely not the point, but and I think once we get to some of these principles, I'll get to give you some tools on how to integrate maybe adding new foods or maybe not adding new foods. It's really an individual process, which is something I love, but it's also hard when there's 40 different people to know what each person needs. So it really is a matter of taking what you like, leave the rest, and also get other support if you need it, as different things will inevitably probably come up. And then will I get this? You will, and you'll get exactly what you need this time. And but it does take time. I mean, when you read these principles, they're not like hard to understand, but they do take time to sink in and to really integrate into your life and kind of into your psyche. So just having that patience with yourself and not, having a time frame or having any sort of like grading yourself of how well you're doing. And then lastly, there are stages of intuitive eating, and we'll go into this a little bit more next week. But basically, having a readiness is just kind of like, actually, I'll go into these more next week because I think we'll have a little more time. But it is a process. So don't feel like all of these, have to be integrated in one day. So I just wanted to give a little bit of information. So we'll start next week. This will be Saturdays from 9 to 10 Pacific time. It will just be 1 hour. We'll go through October 18th. And the format that I had in mind is I'll do a little education on a principle. We'll answer workbook questions, so there'll be time for you to write during the session. So don't feel like you have to do homework. And also, if you don't have the book, I'll have the questions up for you to look at the session, and then there'll be time for sharing and any questions. And then, so we have some resources. If you do want to get the book, there's a new edition from this January 2025. I also have the old edition, so I'll be probably referencing both. There is the intuitive eating book. And then on the website, there's an intuitive eating assessment scale. So if you want to check out kind of like how like kind of take your temperature in each of the different principles, you can kind of see it might be nice to do at the beginning and then again at the end to see how much progress or change has happened. And we'll get these up on the website if they already aren't. I know that this assessment scale is up there. And then yeah. And then we're not going to do any more journaling. That's my information. If anyone would like to get in touch in between, I'll leave that up. And
Thanks for recovering with us.